Hello, hola, bonjour, howdy. Welcome to the intellectual property of Deanna, also known as iPod. iPod 98 to be exact, but iPod for short. 98 because that was the year I was born. All right, so today, as you can see from the video, I believe that Pluto deserves better. Right now, Pluto is known as a dwarf planet. Um, but whenever I was growing up, it was just known as a planet. It was actually known as the smallest planet in our solar system. Then one day, they just decided to kick it out of the solar system for being small. And I think that's ridiculous. Um, Initially, I wanted to prove that Pluto was a planet. And I did some research. I realized, okay, Pluto is a planet, but it's known as a dwarf planet. Okay, I'm gonna get into that into this video, but um, I just think that Pluto deserves better, and this video is my reasons why. All right, so first we have to define what is a planet and what is a major planet. All right, so definition of a planet, according to the International Astronomical Union, or the IAU, is a celestial body that orbits the sun, has sufficient mass for its gravity to form a nearly round shape, and has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Okay. And you can pause and read the further definition. The definition of a major planet. A major planet is any of the eight. That hurts me. That hurts me. Eight primary celestial bodies in the solar system that orbits the sun, have sufficient mass for their gravity to make them nearly round, and have cleared their orbital path. Their orbital path. I think I've been saying that wrong. They include Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. When I was growing up, it was Uranus, but things changed, I guess. Distinguishing them from dwarf planets like Pluto and minor planets, asteroids. I didn't know that asteroids were planets, but that's a topic for another time, I guess. All right. Why isn't Pluto considered a major planet? Right now, it's because it doesn't clear its orbital path. When did these planets get a job? When did it become a requirement for them to clear something? Last I checked, planets were not janitors. So that I I think that the current definition of a planet just completely sabotages Pluto. Like, completely. That's the only reason it's not a major planet. And so I went in here. I disagree with the definition, just the fundamental dwarf distinction. I also believe that it should be at the edge of our solar system. I think that it should be a known fact that it's part of our solar system. And I think that it should be a major planet. Um, I think that it should be at the edge of our solar system while be considered the beginning of the Kuiper Belt. I would like to propose that Pluto be known as a bridge planet for what it leads to. Yes, I do think that it should be a major planet, but if we don't, see eye to eye on that, at least a bridge planet would be good enough for me. And I don't understand how being small disqualifies you from being the dominant object in an orbit. So, anyway, because of Pluto, we have found the Kuiper belt. Okay, this is what that looks like. This is a very important image. All right. So you'll notice this is apparently this, like, around here, or I'm not sure if you can see my mouse. That white area apparently is like frozen water among other particles. So this is what we found, like, past Pluto, or what was found. I didn't find anything. I just saw the picture and I was like, huh, that's pretty interesting. But whenever I saw this picture, it reminded me of the firmament. So it just reminded me. I can't explain exactly what it is that reminded me of this, but it just reminded me of, like, how flat it was. I'm actually gonna go back to it. Just how flat it was. I could just, like, imagine there was, like, some type of dome on top. Just looking at that, I was like, wow, that why does that seem so familiar? Then I I made this connection, and um it for some reason it reminded me of the flood. Well, in the Bible, it talks about how God flooded the earth, and um how the firmament opened and the waters came from heaven to flood everything. And then God made a promise to never do that again. So, this is what I think. And you don't have to agree with this. This is what I think. I think that the I think that God and his promise to humanity to never flood the earth again took the waters and put them as far as possible from earth, an impossible distance for it to never happen again. And not only that, but I think that he changed, like, he froze the water so that it would be still, no chance of that ever happening again. So, this is my ultimate theory. And I just said it, but I'm going to say it from my journal because, yeah. I think after the flood, God took the waters from heaven and put them far from earth as a promise that a flood will never happen again, creating the Kuiper belt. And you can see where, the firmament is, where the opening of the firmament is, and God's promise after the flood in this slide. In conclusion, I think that Pluto should be a major planet, and I actually would like to propose to change the definition of a planet. A round-shaped mass that orbits the sun, a large celestial body that orbits the sun, is round in shape, and contributes to a major discovery. I think that having the word major in a major planet kind of constitutes that. So I do think that Pluto should be a major planet because there has been a major finding from the discovery of Pluto. And you can look at all the planets that are considered a major planet right now and know that they had a major discovery. Pluto's major discovery is the Kuiper Belt, and what that could mean, you know, considering, like, what if that is the water from heaven that is far from earth? What if? You never know. I think that it's an idea, and it's a theory, and I stand by it. I believe that, but I do believe strongly that Pluto should be a major planet. Thank you for spending, about 10 minutes with me and listening. If you agree, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. My PO box is going to be in the description. Excuse me. You could always send an email that's also going to be in the description. Um, you know, Other than that, connect with me on platforms like LinkedIn and Duolingo. Um, I would be happy to connect and continue to have this conversation. But definitely, definitely, definitely write. Um, yeah, that is all. I hope that you who made it through this video have a great week and just a blessed time. So, thank you so, so much for your time, and I wish you well. Bye.